Hello. To keep this research alive and bypass the noise, please signal the algorithm by liking and subscribing to the audit. If you move beyond passive observation and begin auditing your own cognitive environment, I have developed the memetics app, a tool designed to map these linguistic loops in real time. It is the practical application of the research you see here. The link to download is in the comment. Now, let us begin. A gilded lie. Seeing all of the media hype surrounding the Met Gala this year reminded me of all the scrutiny it was under in the previous years. The viable comparisons to the Hunger Games, the shorts, the reels, the TikToks, the song, I'm sure you get the idea. What is the Met Gala? A microcosm of the current state of American capitalism, where art, technology, and celebrity converge to create a spectacle that is both a vital fundraiser and a record-breaking stress test for the future of cultural relevance. Or, at least, that is the AI summary of the function it has come to serve in 2026 due to the Silicon Valley funding and sponsorship. Billions of dollars flow through this annual event into these ridiculous, ritualistic costumes that basically scream devil worship or CP indulgence. Meanwhile, the people holding these events up, the wage workers, are barely making enough to make ends meet. However, this is not the topic I am going to dive into. Actually, this video will explore how this event is just another perpetuation of the trauma economy. Again, where the idea that anyone can be a billionaire is touted over the heads and faces of the working class like a carrot on a stick. Do not take this as a socialist or communist advocacy. No, this video is to point out the American meme, the trauma induction that drives few to excellence, but most to peril and suffering, a Darwinian loop. Wealth porn, the Met Gala's dark cycle. Part 1, the wealth porn era. A term coined and popularized by NYU professor / entrepreneur Scott Galloway. We have been in this era for some time now, a proponent of the trauma economy. This pornographic system promotes material gain and greed above all else. Not simply a system of material promotion, but a system of material worship too, where the appearance of achieving the American dream is portrayed, shown through flashy cars, expensive jewelry, and obscenely high-priced toys or devices. The pornographic element to this routine is its addictive nature. People consume this content like a drug due to the gilded lie that it propagates. This lie propagated, or lies, everyone can make it here, everyone can be a billionaire, you can be rich if you work hard enough, is fed and installed deep into our psyches, spurring us into actions that feed a selfish gene. That said, we should work hard. It is good to put forth an effort that will change the environment and communities occupied by us. Self-improvement is always a positive force that benefits all. Ambitions, dreams are essentially good things. However, what I'm identifying here is not the same as simply working hard and changing your life. It is not the same as simply rising from poverty and making something from nothing. I'm referring to the mass consumerism and mass consumption propagated by the managerial elites, the lies and memetic entropy of the American dream, or as I call it, the American meme. Wealth porn that gets us forking up thousands of dollars towards systems and infrastructure that promise us we will become rich if we continue to pay them their tithes, not the tithes given to the psychotic or passionate psychosis of the megachurches, though it is one proponent, but the taxes we pay and the rigid barriers to entry. Right now, there is a subclass of people who pretend they had distinct disadvantages throughout their comeuppance. These very same individuals appearing at the Met Gala and masquerading as those who started out with a blue-collar background, using memetics to deceive the working class into serving them. These memes install the software that makes the wage workers of the event fully obedient to them. NPCs who are programmed by the Professional-Managerial Class, the PMC. Part 2, the PMC-NPC paradox. PMCs are essentially higher-tiered NPCs that serve the billionaire priesthood. However, they detest the NPCs, the wage workers, the working class. PMCs were the result of the widened entry point that the working class passed through as they rose up the economic ladder. Through merit, people could work their way up and make a sustainable living, able to afford all that the media propaganda had promised. After years, decades, that same wave of working class people who rose up the ladder have produced their own communities. A generation or two deep, their successors have tightened the point of entry for economic progress, gatekeeping entry to job opportunities, university, and other systems that would alleviate financial strain through specialized networks that sequesters said entry. Only they and those they can get through the gate. The first wave of the PMCs sometimes forget or forego their NPC roots due to wealth porn, conditioning them to worship their material gains and detest those who fail to do the same. Again, revisiting their offspring, only they and those they choose, I'm sorry, I forgot to include that element, choose, can get through the gate. They are not quite as bad, and in some cases, the first wave of PMCs are justified in comparison to the later generations. After all, that first wave of NPCs, their peers, other boomers, had all the economic doorways they could possibly ever need, more so than any other generation. However, it is their successors that are more alarming, for they start off with clear advantages. Access to networks, insider knowledge, the family name, and other factors that trickle down from their predecessors. These later generations reveal a distinct flaw in the meritocratic system, a growing trend of nepotism where talent is not inherited. Again, talent is not inherited, rather, the foundations that enable the cultivation of talent and skill. The only difference between the current meritocratic system from that of old aristocracies is that upper-class populations have to work a bit harder. The idea of I earned it all and started from the bottom is championed by this upper bracket of our society, where the bottom for PMCs tends to be a well-resourced community with Ivy League graduate parents. The bottom for the working class is vastly different, be it their car, a trailer park, a disenfranchised ghetto, a domestically abusive home, etc. Furthermore, this division between the PMCs and the working class widens geographically, clearly nuanced across all American 50 states. Across all 50 American states. With that issue, there comes a vast cultural difference, with the PMCs having a taste for more expressive customs with virtue-triggering mechanisms, terms and phrases that tout the idea of equity accompanied by actions that demonstrate the opposition instead, the worship of progressive-based social movements, but the scorning they demonstrate when actual working-class individuals propagate these social movements instead of themselves. A PMC, for all intents and purposes, is an imposter who champions the American dream while working against it. Their tastes and desire for more cultured experiences can be summed up in the obscenely expensive event called Met Gala. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's Tax the Rich stunt, for instance, where she attends an event where a single ticket costs more than the median salary of the average American working class. Part 3, an American meme. The American dream has become what I call the American meme. I mentioned that phrase earlier. An idea that everyone can be obscenely wealthy in a system built with the zero-sum design. It memetically installs itself deep within our psyches and spurs us to action. Few people get through the gate via acceptance from the gatekeepers. The American meme hits our reptilian brains, our amygdala component, with hordes and loads of intense wealth porn, compilation compilations of people who lied about their rough beginnings and made it to the top. A roller coaster of emotion that triggers rampant dopamine transmission, keeping us hooked on the American meme. The Met Gala is one of many instances that propagate the memetic mutations of the American meme, a spike that exists within a vast field of different wavelengths and frequencies. We, in American society, bust our asses to achieve the American dream, ultimately serving the meme as a proponent or utility. The dream became a meme due to the PMCs, perhaps under the guidance of the billionaire priesthood or through their own volition. It does not matter. What does matter is what the end result is, the gatekeeping. Above all, the potential to reproduce this phenomenon if we are to widen the gap of opportunity once more. We are just as prone to becoming PMCs, if given the chance, as we are to being rejected by them. As such, it is my view that we must hold the PMCs not just the PMCs accountable, but ourselves as well. Part 4, repeat. In my previous video, PMCs of America, I had a comment that stated that I got the idea of class issues in America right, but pointed to the wrong people. A bit of a sanctimonious comment with respect to the discourse of class issues in American culture. Sanctimonious, such that it posits the performative progression of the PMCs as being a herald of equity. It's the usual sanctimony of the PMC perspective that refuses to acknowledge nuance, ultimately narrowing down the inequity of society into an exclusive right-wing political factor. That said, I am identifying the weapon and tool that is often used to subjugate mass populations, weapons that have become highly effective through the silicon medium, memes, language, an apolitical weapon utilized by all sides of a vast spectrum. Thanks to silicon, it has established a degree of autonomy. Chain reactions are triggered once an idea is diffused into the internet. Repeating rampantly and with reckless abandon, becoming more and more powerful the more attention is given to it. This organism does not care as long as it has our attention to feed on. An entirely new economy has been birthed by the language organ through the silicon medium we call computers or smartphones. Like the T800, it does not stop or sleep or eat. It just keeps going. Though unlike the fictional cybernetic organism, it has no purpose but to replicate. The audit. Met Gala is another American meme. Met Gala is the gilded lie that makes us believe we can achieve the same level of wealth. In reality, it is the representation of the mass consumption habits of the billionaire priesthood and the labor/service of the PMCs. It would be nice if the gilded lie were true. Maybe at some instance or another it was. Now the idea has mutated into a brutal system that hungers for our attention and uses it to enrich itself. To keep this research live and bypass the noise, please signal the algorithm by liking and subscribing to the audit. If you want to move beyond passive observation and begin auditing your own cognitive environment, I've developed the Memetic app, a tool designed to map these linguistic loops in real time. It is the practical application of the research you see here. The link to download is in the comments. And as always, thank you for watching. Your viewership is not taken for granted.